Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bill Zam. Today is July 9th, 2013. This is the Surrounded by Idiots morning show as I continue and wend my way through the cavalcade of adjusting my broadcasting style to meet radio standards, which means that I am starting a audio-only show, a radio show on blogtalkradio.com for a brand new network. They have hired me, and I will be doing my show on that network starting the first Wednesday in August. More details to follow soon. Today, I want to tell you about some changes that we've made to Zamistan. That is my homepage for everybody to use. It has many, many links and different really cool stuff that you can use. I have a what do we got? We have a news feed that rotates on the side. We have all kinds of different links all over the internet. The address is northernmichigansolar.com/intranet330. northernmichigansolar.com/intranet330. And you can see the site there. We have all of these different websites and links on here, all the different places that people go to a lot, all in one simple web page. Let's get on with the show, shall we? This first story, this is really interesting, and I wanted to hit it because one of the things that we do is we do alternative news, conspiracy, cryptozoology, that sort of stuff on the show. This story, if it is true, is one of the most incredible discoveries of all time. Giant pyramids have been found under the ocean off of Cuba. This is supposedly the real deal, not some damn pile of sand under the water. This comes to us from altering-perspectives.com. altering-perspectives.com, and this is from June 19th of 2013. Here is a photo, an image of the giant pyramids and sphinxes found underneath the ocean. You can see by looking right here. This is a stepped pyramid type of design. Looks more like Mayan to the casual observer, and that would be me. Two scientists, Paul Wiesenzweig and Pauline Zalataki, working off the coast of Cuba using a robot submersible, have confirmed that a giant city exists at the bottom of the ocean. The site of the ancient city that includes several sphinxes and 4 giant pyramids plus other structures sits on the boundaries of the Bermuda Triangle. May be tied in with Atlantis or Mu. Let me see here. Okay, here we go. Evidence that the island of Cuba is the vestige of a once mighty culture is supported by Zaliteki's discovery on the island of extremely ancient symbols and pictograms identical to those seen on the underwater structures, which means they supposedly have found pictograms and symbols on the island of Cuba that are identical to those that are on underwater. Using exploration submersibles, they discovered amazingly huge pyramid structures similar to, but larger than, the pyramids in Giza, Egypt. They estimate, and they're calling it Atlantis apparently, they estimate the Atlantis pyramids are constructed with stones weighing many hundreds of tons. And there you go, that's the really cool news of the day. And now, let's get to the Debbie Downer news of the day, which is, while you were distracted by a crash landing and yet another foreign policy blunder, your world has once again changed. Again. In one of the most baffling rulings in my 55 years of life, the Supreme Court, don't forget Valerie Jarrett and her famous 2 judges in her pocket comment, has ruled that you and I have no recourse whatsoever if we are injured by a drug. None whatsoever. We have no legal standing. So now the most obvious course of action for consumers is what Dear Leader is moving towards, and I bet nobody has even realized this. And don't forget, you heard this here first. Let's take a look at the article. This article is at thinkprogress.org, thinkprogress.org. Mondays, Supreme Court ruling immunizing drug companies from lawsuits for egregious injuries wasn't terribly surprising to those who've been following along. 2 years ago, in a case called PLIVA versus Mensing, the U.S. Supreme Court held that generic drug companies are largely immune from lawsuits, alleging their failure to warn of harmful consequences. This case concerns a woman who was taking a medication and got the flesh-eating virus from that medication, or because of that medication. She is disfigured for the rest of her natural life. She was seeking recompense and compensatory damages from the drug company, and guess what? The Supreme Court said, no, 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 you don't have any legal standing. Tough beans. This decision brings the top corporate lobby's win rate before the U.S. Supreme Court to 13-3. With one case remaining in which the Chamber of Commerce weighed in, it is clear that however the final case is decided, big business won very big at the expense of the little guy. And here is what you are going to hear here first. People will now begin, because of this, people will now begin suing their doctors, who should have known, which will lead to less prescriptions being dispensed because the doctors do not want to open themselves up to that type of a lawsuit, which will lead to more suffering and death. All of that, of course, will lead to doctors throwing up their hands and leaving the profession, which will lead to doctors as qualified to work on your Ferrari as your 10-year-old son. Mark my words. All of this obviously leads to additional population reduction, as the plan with the New World Order, Agenda 21, and the environmental wackos dictates. Now, do you see how this all ties together? And now for some more, even more Debbie Downer news. The number of people in the government dole, just from food aid, not including any other programs, has hit 101 million people. That is more than the number of people with full-time jobs. Now are you getting it? As I said on the show, on the 8th of July. As I said on the show, on the 8th of July, the entire exercise and its point is the Greek model. Crush the economy and replace it with what you want. That's Cloward and Piven. Go look it up. And that story comes to us from cnsnews.com. Right there, 100 million get food aid from federal government, outnumber full-time workers in the private sector. That is very, very disturbing. Next up, and our last story for the morning update, our good friend Alan Caraba has penned another excellent opinion piece about the fantasy world that we live in. And it is a fantasy, by the way. It's not the Matrix. It's just a plain old made-up fantasy. And it is the fantasy to believe that we live in a democratic republic anymore. Our system has been perverted from within by the very people who were domestic terrorists in the 1960s. Do some research, look it up. These are the same people that were the Weather Underground and other terrorist groups in the 1960s. It has been perverted by fake Americans. The perversion has finally realized the dream of all those communist leaders from the USSR. The former United States of America is now a communist country. We can no longer deny it. We cannot turn the other cheek any longer. We have failed, and the game is finally over. If the government has technology that can store and analyze billions of phone and internet communications, why the hell can't it develop technology to track those here on visas and work permits? Why do we need the immigration bill to make new laws when we have the original laws that are not being enforced? This is all part of Alan Karuba's piece over here at CanadaFreePress.com. That's CanadaFreePress.com. Obama's primary fantasy is Marxism, and it is summed up by his belief that a country prospers when it redistributes wealth from those who have prospered to those who may not even wish to work. The most difficult of times are when we are forced to live in the fantasy world of those granted the power to govern. It has brought down virtually every communist and socialist nation that has tried to make this work. By Marxist standards, Obama was successful in the way the auto industry, the sector, and of course the nation's healthcare system were nationalized. Yet another of Obama's fantasies was rubber stamped by the Supreme Court's decision that Americans are now expected and required to accept that it is permissible and reasonable for a man to marry a man and a woman to marry a woman. The other fantasy, the creation of the Marxist United Nations, is what is called climate change, originally called global warming until it was exposed as a hoax. It is the instrument with which to destroy the economy of a nation in the name of saving it from climate change. Finally, it is a fantasy that Barack Hussein Obama has any legal right to hold the office of the President of the United States. His birth certificate is fake. His Social Security number is fake. Much of his personal history is a fake. Nobody from Columbia University, where he is said to have been a student, recalls meeting him or having him in their classes. He is a fraud, and he is being allowed to be president. It's not a fantasy. It's a nightmare for all of us. Don't take my word for it. Take Alan's word for it. Go and read the entire column. Here is the source that you have forgotten about. Don't worry. While you are watching a squirrel riding a bike on the news, we'll be hiding out in these United Socialist States of America. Let's go over here and read the original article. And this article is at theblaze.com, theblaze.com. This is by Wayne Allen Root, Obama's college classmate. He says that the real scandal that we're seeing is at Columbia University. I am President Obama's classmate at Columbia University, the class of '83. I am also one of the most accurate Las Vegas odds makers and prognosticators. Accurate enough that I was awarded my own star on the Las Vegas Walk of Stars. And here is what he says. Obama and his infamous strategist David Axelrod understand how to play political hardball the best it's ever been played. Team Obama has decided to distract American voters by condemning Mitt Romney for not releasing enough years of his tax returns. This is from before the election. We knew about this before the election. And all the idiots and sheeple sat around and did nothing. It's the perfect cover. Obama knows the best defense is a bold offense. Just keep attacking Mitt and blaming him for secrecy and evasion while accusing him of having a scandal that doesn't exist. Then ask followers like Harry Reid to chase the lead. The U.S. Senate Majority Leader appears now to be making up stories out of thin air about this. This is a classic Axelrod maneuver. And over at Wayne Allen Root's website, rootforamerica.com, rootforamerica.com. Here is one of his commentaries. This is from June 7th of this year. The Ghost of Columbia, Part 2, legendary Columbia professor never heard of Obama. This is by Wayne Allen Root. Let me read some of it to you. My life has crossed paths with President Obama on multiple occasions. According to Obama, we were Columbia University classmates, both and political science majors in the class of '83. I also ran against Obama in the Libertarian Party presidential ticket. But something about the Obama story has always bothered me. Earlier in the week, right here at the Blaze, I wrote about having just returned from New York, where I attended my 30th anniversary of my Columbia reunion. I celebrated with my esteemed classmates, everyone except Barack Obama. As usual, he wasn't there. Not a trace, not a video greeting, not a letter. I could not find any classmates who knew him. Right here. Okay? Take his word for it, I guess. I call Obama the ghost of Columbia University. I pointed out, as I have said in the media for many years now, that Obama may have been registered at Columbia, may have graduated from Columbia, but he was rarely seen for the 2 years in between. It's a strange, mysterious, and frightening story. So what does all this mean, folks? Does this mean that the entire Obama life story is a fake? Does it mean that he is the Manchurian candidate actually come to life and everybody ignored it? That I can't answer. All I know is that from what I see and from what I am told, the evidence of something being amiss in all of this is quite apparent, unless all of these people are lying. And every single one of them that has come out has been targeted by the IRS for quite a bit of investigation of them, including Wayne Allen Root, a former vice presidential candidate for the office of the President of the United States. So there you go. That is this morning's update. And in case you haven't noticed, I haven't lost my voice yet. I haven't had to take a break to take a sip of anything. So that is good news. I don't even know how long I have been on the air, maybe 20 minutes or so. At any rate, my name is Bill Zam, and tonight, I will be beginning filming of the new and improved cooler air conditioner with an improvement of 40% in the efficiency range. So, until the next time, my name is Bill Zam. Have a nice day, and try to keep some positive thoughts as we all go down into the cesspool of history.